Hello, 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 and welcome to Women's Wisdom Wednesdays, where we gather every Wednesday to empower women, foster connections, and thrive on our journey of surviving womanhood. Today, we are delighted to have a very special guest joining us, Carrie Muhs, to discuss the challenges of surviving empty nest syndrome. Her story is one of strength and inspiration, and today we'll delve into her experiences as she prepares to embrace a new phase of life, becoming an empty nester. So before we begin, we want to remind you to visit our website at www.survivingwomanhood.org, where you can find valuable resources, connect with other women, and stay updated on our upcoming episodes. We encourage you to actively participate by asking questions and adding comments. Your stories matter. And please know, this is a safe space for us to learn and grow together. I'm Kasey Conrad, and I'm a well-being specialist and whole life coach, and my beautiful co-host.
And hi, I'm Bianca, also coaching here with Kasey at Surviving Womanhood.
Thank you. And now let's meet Carrie Muhs. Carrie is a mother of two and is on the cusp of a significant life transition. Her daughter is about to leave for college, making her an empty nester. Carrie's son also left for college a few years ago, and she's going to discuss that with us. Carrie has been serving others for years as a Reiki energy practitioner, providing distant treatments for both people, and as an added bonus, Carrie specializes in distant healings for all types of animals. She rounds out her complementary therapy repertoire as an NLP spiritual health coach. Through her journey, Carrie has discovered solace and inspiration in helping others. Her ability to find joy and peace amidst life's changes serves as a testament to her strength and resilience. Carrie, a wonderful friend of mine, we're honored to have you here today. Your new life experience is one that so many moms and dads are facing right now. As a matter of fact, there's something called empty nest syndrome that people will experience once they've had their children leaving home. And it's an interesting thing because we often find ourselves identifying, like if someone says to you, "Who are you?" or they're meeting you for the first time and they want to know something about you, we often describe ourselves as moms, right? We're a mom, we're a wife. But that mom thing is such a big part of who we see ourselves as. And we spend so much time taking care of our children's needs and generally putting them first. So we think about them and what do they need for us to do, and driving them to soccer practice or band practice, or when do they need to be here for this appointment. And then it's like all of a sudden we're doing that for them, helping them pack their clothes, making sure they've ticked all the boxes that they need to tick before they leave. And then we drive them off, come home, silence. And that is such an unusual experience. And we know that to some degree, all parents whose children are leaving experience that. So what we want to know, Carrie, in this new life experience, can you share some of the challenges you've encountered during this transition for Danny and Dylan, and how you're finding strength and fulfillment in your life after?
Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for having me. And I guess to begin with, It is really an odd feeling. It's like you feel like a part of you is not there anymore. And I know that's a really dramatic, but it does. It's really strange. Um, it's more of a feeling type of thing, like there's a piece of you that's not there that used to be. And that's really can be a little bit disconcerting. But I want to preface that it's great for the first couple weeks because you kind of get a vacation and you kind of have that thing going that it's like, oh, they're going to be back. They're just at college. They're going to be back and, you know, you're going to pick up where you left off and everything. And that's not how it is at all. um, at least in my experience. I I was a stay-at-home mom. I didn't work. I worked for the first, I don't know, 5 to 6 years of my son's life. And then I moved to Iowa and I became a stay-at-home mom. I had some complications with my pregnancy with my daughter. So that kind of pushed me into that stay-at-home role. And I just decided to embrace it. So I'm coming at it from that perspective. I know that there's a lot of women out there that are working and doing motherhood and doing an amazing job. I can only speak to what my experience. But like I said, those first few weeks, it's just like, it doesn't really, hit you, but, it gets to be into the 4 to 6 week mode, and you're getting maybe a phone call once in a while, and you're trying to figure out, is there something wrong? Did I do something wrong? What's going on? Because you're not in that loop anymore. And I don't know, I guess I talked to a couple friends of mine and that were obviously empty nesters generations ago. And their advice to me, or, their comments to me about what was going on was basically that if you do your job right, they're not going to be calling you all the time because they know what to do. You've taught them what to do. And that really was a game changer for me. And I'm like, yeah, you still feel what you feel and you should really honor that. But that helped me quite a bit to know that, I did my job and I did it right. And that's why they're not calling me every 3 minutes about something, because they know what to do and how to do it. And they're doing it well. No news is good news. How often do we hear that?
Right.
saying, and you just need to trust that you did what you needed to do during the time when you were raising them and when they were growing up, and that they're doing their thing and they're doing it okay. And if they need you, they'll let you know, and they do. It's just a new way of being with them, and you just need to embrace it as best you can. And it's not easy, and it takes time, but there are all kinds of things you can do to help with that, and that's obviously start to embrace this new freedom that you have to explore and find out what you like to do and what you want to learn about and what you want to be and all that. And you have the time to do that.
So Carrie, can you share with us some of the things that some of those things that you did that you started to fill your time with?
Well, like I said, you just have to, I've just been a lifelong learner. I mean, that's something that I've really embraced most of my life. And I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of exploring on YouTube about something that I'll see, and I'm like, I'd really like to know more about that, and I explore it and see where it takes me. And if it doesn't resonate, then I just kind of leave it and then go on to something else. But it's just nice to have that explorer, just to kind of just see what's out there and what your interests might be. I mean, sometimes it's been like 20 years since you've really had any time to do any of that, and stuff that you like to do right out of high school and in college might not appeal to you now. And you're not going to know that unless you explore it. Be willing to suck at something and see how you feel
Great
about
advice. Yeah.
you know, and
Mhm.
go from there. I mean, and don't worry about what anybody else thinks. Their opinions, their comments and all that, they're just points of view. You know, that has no bearing on what you feel and how you feel. And
That's great advice.
you really owe it to your family and to yourself to be happy, you know, and to do something for you. And
So
Honest-
I'm
honest-
gonna slide in here a little bit because I'm gonna pull some of this stuff out of you, and because I have the privilege of knowing you, I know a couple of community things that you've done. So like your book club, that's one thing, right? You have a book club. You're a part of community theater. And you know, you've taken part with me and some organizations for fundraising and for charities. So I want you to just, can you expand on that a little bit, and
sure.
and how that helped take you to another place?
Well, the whole book thing is something that I've loved since I was a small child. I was very much a reader, and my mother worked for the library for quite a while when I was a child. So that was something that I explored, and when I moved to Iowa, because it was, you know, something that, you know, I've always fell back on. And it, you know, reading is pretty flexible. You read when you can. And so when you're a stay-at-home mom, you know, you're waiting for appointments, you're waiting for them to get done with practice. And this is obviously before cell phones were, you know, attached, more so now than they were back then, obviously. So, you know, so like I said, that was something that I decided I wanted to get involved in. And my professional background, I did a lot of grant writing and fundraising and volunteer coordinating, that type of thing. So that's kind of what I decided there was a need for that. And I got to know the library director, and I started volunteering and helping with some fundraising and getting awareness out about the library and the different programs. I mean, I don't think people are quite aware of what is available at the library anymore. And I encourage you to explore that if that's something that you're interested in. I also, over time, ended up getting on the library board, and I served on the library board for about 6 years. And a couple of those years, I was president of the library board. Just trying to think of, and then, you know, the book club was one of the first things I got involved with. When I talked to the library, they said, well, there's this book club. And so I joined that and got to know quite a few women. It's a woman's book club. It's not exclusively women, but that's basically who had joined, who was in the group, was a group of retired women. And I've been part of that book group for almost 20 years. So
Wow.
we read a book every month and we discuss it. So and then you said something about, oh, the community theater. That is something, I have a degree in theater. And since between having my second child, Danielle, I had a little bit of extra time. So I got involved and did a couple shows in town, again, just to kind of get to know people and doing something that I enjoyed. And then obviously I had to hang that up for a while until my daughter got a little older. But I did do a play. I did some assisted directing for community theater in like the last 5 years, before COVID, obviously. And then once COVID was on the out, I went ahead and decided I had enough time at that point, being that my daughter was old enough and the timing was right. I went ahead and auditioned, and I actually got on stage, and that was interesting because I hadn't been on stage in quite a while.
And
But
you were very good.
oh, well, thank you. And it was challenging because the cast ended up getting COVID. And so we didn't get to rehearse as much as we needed. And I also, my mother-in-law was dying during that time and had passed away during the rehearsal period. So that was interesting. But you know, as they say, the show must go on. So,
Yes,
and
And
sounds like
it
you
was a
kept very
lovely
busy.
show. It was a
it
lovely
was,
show. Bianca?
and it was
Yeah.
just, it was really good for me because I could prove to myself that I could still do something and do it well. You know, after all that time and all the obstacles and everything that was during that time that we were preparing to do the show, that was really a really good confidence booster that, yeah, I can still do this.
Thank you.
But
Bianca.
I have
Yeah.
plenty to offer, and, you know, I can do what I set my mind to. So that was awesome.
Yeah, I think it's really important,
There's
I'm
some-
sure, to
oh, I'm
find
sorry.
those kinds of interests. So if there was women who are, we're going to the end of the school year now and things like this, and there's going to be people who are going to be experiencing children moving on into college or university and things like this, what advice would you give to women who are now starting to go into this new phase of their life where they have this more time, their children aren't around as much? What advice would you give to them? What suggestions would you make?
Well, I don't know, make a list of stuff that you've always wanted to do and never had the opportunity to do. Think about it. I mean, you don't have to, you know, run right out, but I mean, just take some time and reflect and just think about something that you want to try.
Yeah.
You know, you can find out. I mean, there's all kinds of resources about anything and everything you could possibly imagine online. Start there and then see how you can apply that to your local area. I mean, is, you know, yoga a thing that you've always wanted to try? Is there a Y in the area that you could, you know, do a beginning class just to try it? Try it for a few weeks, see if you like it. And be okay with the fact that you're just starting out and you're not going to be very good at it. But as long as it makes you feel good, don't worry about it. But like I said, just be an explorer. And then if you are really like, I have no idea, try to go back and see what you used to like to do before you got mommed. And
That's great. That's great. I love that. Before you got mommed.
and like I said, and pick up where you left off. See if that's something that still interests you, or it might spark something that maybe you can't do because you're not that young anymore, or do it in a different way than you probably did then. I mean, obviously times have changed, but things, you can still pick stuff up from where it was. You just might have to, you know, think outside the box a little bit.
Yeah.
Are you going to
Right.
run a marathon, a 25-mile marathon? No, but you could maybe run a 5K and work
That's
yourself up
great.
to the marathon.
Yeah.
You know, you could walk a 3K. See how
Maybe
you
we
like
should
it.
do that.
You know, I mean, those are just examples, but I mean, you just kind of modify it a little bit and kind of see if it feels good. And, you know, it's important.
Yeah,
It's
those are
important
all.
to your health and you as a person and a being, and as a mom too, because then when you talk to your kids, you have something to talk about besides the weather. You know, they are interested in what you're doing too, and they think it's great that you're out there doing stuff for yourself. And like I said, it makes you a much more interesting person, and you have something to contribute when you talk to people.
I think those are all wonderful suggestions. I want to circle back for a second because we were talking earlier and you've gone through this experience already with your son, Dylan, and you mentioned that you were very close to him. And again, I want to emphasize the fact that this empty nest syndrome is a real thing. And if you are a parent who's experiencing this, there is a loss, there's a feeling of loss, and it's not abnormal. It's a grieving period because your life is in a full-on transition. You are going from one lifestyle to literally another one in the blink of an eye. So there is a grieving period there. And so, Carrie, I want you to maybe explain or to discuss a little bit about how you felt when Dylan left and what those feelings were that you experienced and how you brought yourself out of that.
Well, like I said, it took a little while, and then it like I said, in my head, it was like, a part of me wasn't there anymore. And I wasn't really sure what to do about that. And I just kind of would share, I think, and that's just my way of doing things. I reached out to people around me that had gone through something similar and talked to them about it, and that was helpful. I also, I had a smaller child at home because I think that's the difference. I mean, you have a different relationship with the older child than you do the younger child. So the things that you did with the older child, you're not quite able to do with the younger child, and you can't really, have those same conversations for obvious reasons. They're just not there yet.
And
And
how
then, like,
how far apart are your kids, Carrie? How far
mine are
apart?
8 years apart, so they're quite a bit apart.
Mhm.
And so like I said, and then I started to explore because I started to have a little bit more time, and doing different things that I wanted to do, and just explored that. And like I said, like I said before, I'm a lifelong learner. I like to explore and try things and see how I feel about it and learn more. And, volunteered my time. I also decided to as well, um, through that and through some childhood things that I needed to get some resolution about, because I also had more time to, for that to come into focus. I started to look at self-healing and Reiki. And so that's another thing that I delved into, to do some healing work on myself and learn about healing and that type of thing. And explored that. I mean, I just kind of put it out there, this is what I'm looking for. And then it just kind of came in my Facebook feed that somebody was doing a beginner's Reiki class in a town like 20 minutes away. So I decided that that was something that I wanted to explore. And so that's something that I've decided I really enjoy and I work with a lot. Also, animals have always been an important part of that, been an important part of my life since I was a child too. And so it was kind of neat to kind of segue that healing into the animal kingdom on practically the same level, which was interesting how much alike we are. So I mean, just but yeah, that loss is something, and that's something that you're gonna confront. And just like I said, just be kind to yourself, show yourself some compassion, and reach out. And you know and like I said, as you reach out to your friends, you may have to make new friends, but as you get involved in things and find things that you're passionate about, you'll make new friends. You'll find people you have things in common with that you can talk to and explore together, or they might be able to mentor you in some way. So like I said, just don't fester. I mean, yes, you need to grieve, and yes, it's a new transition, but don't be afraid to explore and not worry so much about what everybody else is doing, and just do your thing and try to find out what that thing is, and don't be afraid. Just just give stuff a try.
Sounds like you've tried lots of new things and you've really embraced that. How has that experience sort of changed your perspective and shaped you as a person more? And obviously and you've obviously delved quite deeply into the Reiki and things like this. How has it changed your perspective on your own self-growth and your own self-development?
Well, I think the number one thing that I guess I didn't really realize was that it's an inside job. It's an individual inside job. And that isn't always really comfortable because in our society and the way we live our lives, inner focus is not what's happening. So, and there's not a lot of, we don't get a lot of training in that. We aren't raised in that way. I'm not saying in different parts of the world, it's different, but in my part of the world,
things are
it's
pulling
very
us our
much
attention, aren't they?
right. It's always pulling you out of yourself instead of being inside. And then, like I say, it's an inside individual type of job. Like I said, other people have opinions and comments, but they're just points of view. I mean, you better than anybody else could ever tell you. And that's another part of it. You just have to get to know yourself and really pay attention. That's one thing that was really eye-opening for me, just being reactive to everything around you all the time. And when you do the work and you go inward, that outer reflection or what comes at you from the outside changes. And and if you're not used to that, that's interesting. And you always know to bring yourself back. Something's coming at you from the outside and you're not liking it or whatever, then you need to go in and figure it out or come back in, and spend some time in quiet and peace, and turn the TV off, turn the computer off, don't be afraid. It's just you. And I promise you'll figure it out and you'll like yourself. You'll get to it. You just have to delve into it. And it's so worth it.
Beautiful. Yes, that's really beautiful. Yeah. Bianca, do you have anything else?
I don't. I was just checking to see, and Kelly has sent a message to say how wonderful it is that you spent time in the library with your children, and you're spending the book club, and that people need to do that more often and spend less time on their tablets. So
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you. We really appreciate that.
Well, like I said, the library is a great thing to do with small kids too, and you're there for you too. I mean, like I said, I think people forget how many opportunities there are for a lot of different things to do at the library.
Thank you. So I want to just kind of recap and talk about the key takeaways and bullet points that I've observed from our conversation today. And please correct anything that I might mess up here. And add anything that you think is important that I might leave out. So one thing that I've heard throughout is do some exploring. Get up, get out, find something that you enjoy, maybe re-explore something that you enjoyed at another time in your life, at an earlier time that you didn't have or take the time necessary to fully figure that out or to fully enjoy that. Look for new things to do. Reach out to the community. Get involved in some other community things. And most importantly, excuse me, I think what I've heard is to be gentle with yourself, to give yourself time to do the inner work necessary to redefine who you are in this new transition, and to be willing to go out there and put yourself out and realize that there are other things outside of being a mom that can be fulfilling for you. So fill in the blanks for me, Carrie.
No, that pretty much rounds it out.
Okay, good. Bianca, you have anything that you've taken away that you might want to mention?
No, I mean, for me, obviously, I haven't experienced that, but I have been the person who left the home, and I probably didn't consider quite as deeply as I perhaps could have at the time, how that impacted both my mom and my dad when I was making those decisions. I was so excited. So it's made me really consider, like, it is an important time all round. And yeah, I probably have a little thanks to my mum and dad about those kind of things. This has made me realize that it's such a big time for you, and it's very impactful in your lives. It's a big transition. So yeah, thank you for sharing.
So I think that's a
pleasure.
wonderful point. And I hope, thank you, Carrie. I hope that other people who are watching, who maybe think, why is my mom calling me all the time? You know, why is this happening? And might have a deeper understanding of what's going on with their parents now, you know, and dads too, but especially moms, you know, especially moms, especially in our age group, the over 40 age group. You know, when we were being moms were the caretakers, you know, and so, and people in our age group, I think it's the moms who have experienced this the most. And also for you kids whose moms are kind of blowing up your phones or blowing up your computers, have some compassion for them. Definitely set boundaries, but have some compassion for your moms. They're going through something. Just keep up with them. Send them a message every now and then, just to let them know, like Carrie said, you know, that they haven't offended you. You're not angry with them. You're not annoyed with them. You're just living your life, right? And it's good that you just kind of send a little message to let your mom know. And any of my kids who are watching, this goes for you too. Point of personal privilege. But it's important that it's understood from both perspectives. And for all you moms who are blowing up your kids' phones, stop it, right? Just give them the chance to live their lives, and give them a chance to miss you. Give them a chance to miss you the way that you're missing them. So this has been a wonderful.
Don't take it personal.
Yes,
don't take it personal.
Don't take it personal. That's right.
And no news is good news.
No news is good news. Yes, no news is not an attack on you.
No.
But we do that to ourselves, don't we, as moms?
Yeah.
So also we want to let you know that this is much more difficult for some than others. And there are wonderful support groups out there. We have put a link in on our Surviving Womanhood Ladies' Choice Facebook page to one of these support groups. We're going to add a couple of more. So, and if you have any questions, please let us know. These support groups are out there for you, and people that are just like you, who are going through this same transition. And sometimes it's good to reach out and have conversations with people, and for you to understand you are not alone. There are other people who are in your same situation and who are experiencing similar emotional distress over their children moving away and finding a new identity. So Carrie's story of embracing change as an empty nester has been truly inspiring. Her resilience and determination are commendable as she navigates this new phase of life. We can all learn from her experiences and find strength in community support. So again, reach out to us. We can, Carrie will be monitoring as well. If you have questions for her, she's happy to answer them and support. Any of these support groups that you find, please feel free. Most of them are online now. There are also local ones that if you'd rather to attend live are available. So do what's necessary for you. And we'd like to invite all of our viewers to share their own stories, suggest future topics or guests, and actively engage with Surviving Womanhood. We believe in you and your voice matters. And we want to create a space where you can learn and we can all grow together. So please mark your calendars and join us for our next Women's Wisdom Wednesdays episode on August 9th, where our guest will share her survival story of strength and growth. And before we conclude, we want to extend a heartfelt thanks to you, Carrie, for joining us today and sharing your incredible story. Your story is an inspiration to all of us. So thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you. And if you've been touched by Carrie's story, or you have experience of your own as an empty nester, please share those experiences with us. It's good for people to know that there are others out there who are going through similar circumstances. So please leave a comment or share your story with us. We value your voice, and we want to create a supportive community where we can all grow. And again, don't forget to mark your calendars for our next Women's Wisdom Wednesdays episode, August 9th, 12 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. UK, and 9 p.m. in the UAE. Together, we'll continue to explore the remarkable survival stories of women just like you who faced adversity and courage with resilience. Thank you all for being a part of this empowering community. As women, let's navigate life's challenges and changes with strength and grace together. Bianca, do you have anything you'd like to say before we go?
No, just a big thank you, Carrie. It was really nice to see you again. It's been a while. And thanks for sharing.
Nice to see you too, Bianca. Thank you.
Carrie, do you have anything you'd like to leave us with?
I think I covered it.
Okay. Thank you so much. And remember, as women, together we can thrive through surviving womanhood. Thank you, and see you right here next week.